Morning. How are y'all doing? It is Thursday, August 14th, at 10 a.m. as of recording this video. I'm taking a break from working in the yard, having my third cup of coffee. Figured I would go ahead and bang out a video. I apologize for not making a video in the past, 5 days? I have tried. I sat down here on the porch Saturday to make a video. I had been working on the other truck, the blue and white one, Caroline, washing 2 years of grime off of it and getting her going. Didn't want to sell it, but I did post it and had somebody come out to look at it Sunday. He passed. He didn't want it. He said there's too much rust, and it needs the carburetor rebuilt. It's sat for 2 years doing nothing, got a lot of grime, and it probably could just stand to be cleaned out real good, but I can't see to do it. So got her running, but before I went into the hospital last year, go out there and just bump the key and she fire right up. Now it takes 3 or 4 minutes before she'll actually start. She'll you hit the key and she'll but then immediately die. I think the jets are just clogged up with too much gunk, but after a couple of minutes she'll fire and she'll run fine. But sitting as she has under constant rain and me not being able to get out here and hose it off or wipe it down or anything like that, she's got a lot of rust that she's developed in the cab corners. One serious fault of older Ford pickups is they have these rails on the top of the cab over the doors called drip rails, and they're to prevent water from dripping down on the window so much, which is fine when you're going, but when the truck's just sitting, it rains and water just collects in the drip rails, and they have a tendency to rust out, and that's what this one has done. I discovered that I could hit it with the water hose in the right way and it would rain inside the truck. And like I said, I didn't want to sell it because it's got a higher gear ratio in the rear planetary, so it's not as hard on gas as Miss Gracie here, and it's got an 8-foot bed, so it'll fit that big camper top I got out back. So it's basically the only backup option I have if I was to lose the house, if that was to fall through, which is likely not going to. I'm 75% sure I've got the house saved for now. I don't accept any guarantees till I've got paperwork in hand, but as far as I'm aware, as far as things are going now, the house is saved. But I also don't just blindly follow anything. I don't blindly believe that there's not going to be an issue down the road. This past couple of months, has shown that even when I got the mortgage down, I can face issues that put me heavily up against the wall. So never say never. But, like I said, I'm up against the wall this month. And I folded and posted the truck for a ridiculously cheap price. But the guy didn't want it. I've had a couple trade offers, but nothing worth anything. The only one guy offered me a early 2000s Nissan something. I do not like Oriental cars, imports. I have never been one to understand why they get such a good rep for longevity and durability, because I have time and time again seen them, fail, come apart for stupid stuff, I mean, they do, if they're taken care of, they do last fairly well, I guess. But, I mean, got an 81 Ford, and it needs work. It's probably got close to 1 million miles on it, and it just keeps right on going down the road. In my experience, Ford's about the only one that can be depended on to do just that. Older Fords, I don't count modern ones. They're all junk nowadays. They're all throwaway cars. They're not meant to last. Mopar, just about right up there with it. Again, not modern stuff, old stuff. But anything will last, fairly long if you take care of it. I'm not into the import scene. I like some European cars, but this thing, the guy said it ran, but it needed a head gasket replaced, and the pictures of it were not flattering, and I knew that it was going to be more trouble than it was worth, and worth nothing to try to resell. So, and then one guy offered me a pair of quads that didn't run and needed work, and I don't have the money to fix them up to try to resell them. So my Caroline is still here. On one hand, I was happy. On the other hand, I was bummed because, like I said, my back is up against the wall. Which brings me to my next topic, and that is, thank you so very much. I think Friday I had a donation on GoFundMe. I believe it was the person that wanted to help me replace the phone. And then yesterday I had a donation on GoFundMe. And the one Friday was, a good amount, and it was $100. And the one yesterday was for $400, and I don't know what to say beyond thank you. On one hand, I'm immensely grateful. On the other hand, I'm immensely ashamed and angry with myself because I've had to resort to this. I do not enjoy having to have a GoFundMe and begging people for money. I don't. it puts a bad taste in my mouth. It makes me ill. But I don't have any kind of a support network. I do not have a large friend group. I do not have a large family. The only I have 3 or 4 people that I count as friends. All of them are working stiffs, you know. Um, and I can't go to them, you know. They have all 4 helped in some way or another. You know, my friend Scotty from Middleburg helps as has helped immensely, helped me a lot. My neighbor over here, my one good neighbor that I know, not my one good neighbor, but the one neighbor that I know and became friends with, has helped me out, as well as my other 2 friends, Jared and Jeff over in Palatka. Um, they've helped out a lot too. Jeff is the one that replaced the tires on my folks' Jeep last year when I couldn't do that. And Jared did the tune-up and you know, fuel filter on my folks' Jeep when I couldn't physically go and do that. So you know, they've helped out where they can, but like I said, they're all working stiffs too, you know, and they got their own families and responsibilities. I can't turn to them for help. I can't contemplate that. And then my folks, you know, they're the only family I've got really, that are here and you know, give a damn. And they're in the same boat as me, you know. They're struggling just as hard as I am. They don't have a mortgage hanging over their head, but everything else. And you know, they're living on just my dad's SSDI. They have too much wrong with them to work. They tried to get work, you know, nobody will hire them. They even tried to get like drive-through cashier at McDonald's, where you know, you see it's a lot of times it's older folks and they can sit down on a stool, but it's not happening. And I've got a brother and I've got a sister, but they're off doing their own things in another part of the country, and I don't even talk to them. Not for lack of trying, but my brother has made some lifestyle choices that I do not agree with, but I would not, you know, shun him for. But it seems at the behest of the woman that he's living with. He doesn't ever try to talk to me. And my sister, you know, I don't know. I used to talk to her on and off, but lately, past 6, 7, 8 months, I don't ever talk to her at all. Don't ever hear from her, and you know, she's never got time to talk. So I don't know what's going on there, but I don't have a large friend group or family support circle that I can turn to like a lot of people do. And like a lot of the different, you know, aid programs that are out there, they say I make too much money for. I make $2,300 a month on SSDI, you know, the 14 for me, 14 and change for me, 14 or 8 and change for my son. It's just a little over 2,300. Together, And I mean, that's not easy to live on. I know a lot of people that live on less, like my folks. They live on the 14 and change that my dad gets, but they don't have a mortgage. They own their place. Um, and you know, it's hard to even pay rent, you know, on something like that. Uh, Especially here in St. Augustine, which I would hate to leave St. Augustine. I would if I had to, but um, if I leave St. Augustine, I will lose 50-50 custody of my son. And I just, I can't do that. I can't be without him. So I've struggled to hold on to this, but it is not easy. And my mortgage now is cheaper than a lot of mortgages, especially here in town. I've now got this massive forbearance hanging over my head that will come due at the end of the mortgage. You know, I've talked about that. So I've basically, you know, sold my soul to the mortgage company, but it's okay because I keep my home, hopefully. But there's no extra to go around, you know. And I've had to deal with a lot of major health challenges. I know I've had, you know, new subscribers on and off. I had one this weekend, I think. Thank you very much. I'll try not to bore you too terribly. But I've got, you know, stage 4 cancer. It is in remission, as far as I know. But there are things going on that make me question whether or not it is still inactive or if it's waking up. I was supposed to get a scan, an in-depth PET scan, CT scan, one of those. PET scan, I think. We did the CT scan, now they want to do a PET scan, to try to determine if it was active, because I've got several enlarged masses in my chest, like 4 in my lungs, and then another half dozen or more in the locality, and we don't know what they are. I've been feeling, you know, odd effects over the past few months. I've got this persistent cough that has messed with my voice, and it's difficult to breathe. And I don't know if that's the humidity or, you know, if I've got some, like with the cough, I've got some lingering respiratory infection. I don't know. I couldn't get the PET scan because it was scheduled in the first or second week of July, and Medicaid cut me off completely on my birthday, June 30th. Happy birthday to me. And as soon as Medicaid cut me off, that canceled my Medicare, except for my very basic Band-Aid coverage that I've got, basically to go to the ER. And Medicaid did that because they somehow managed to double my income in their system, and showing instead of me making, you know, a little over $2,300 a month, they had me over $5,000 a month, and they said, "Oh no, we can't have that." And in the extreme unfairness of the dynamic between the system and the customer, the people, where we have to, you know, jump through all these hoops, provide all this documentation. All they got to do is push a button, and it's done. And that's the latest, the result, or the reason for the latest, you know, calamity. Me not having any medical insurance, And having all this stuff wrong with me, the cancer, my heart is on its last legs. A dozen different rather serious side effects caused by the cancer and the radiation that I'm trying to live with. A shattered immune system that is the reason why I had a slight infection turned into a major infection, turned into sepsis, and really gangrene on my toes, and that led to the partial amputation of my right foot. I've been through it, and I got nowhere to turn, you know. A couple of years ago, I tried to get help to pay my electric bill because I was in a bad spot then. And there's this thing called LIHEAP that you go. They work through. I want to say they work through the health department, and I had. I can't remember what I had to do. I had to fix something on the 2015 Jeep. It might have been when it needed tires. And I was going to have to... there was something I was having to do. I was having to go back and forth to Jacksonville and occasionally Orlando. And I had my truck and I had my Plymouth, but and they were both, running good. But I couldn't afford, to drive them back and forth on a constant basis. I didn't have it. I had the 2015 Jeep, and the only thing about it is it was decent on gas. Only good thing about it. Had to fix something on it. Got past due on the electric. Tried to get help with LIHEAP, and they told me that, one, I made too much money to qualify, but then I also didn't make enough money. Because of the amount of money I did make, they couldn't guarantee that I wouldn't just need their help again a month or 2 months down the road. And that did not make any damn sense to me. Like, I need the help now. I haven't come to you before. I've been making this same amount of money, for a long time now. I hadn't come to you before. I just ended up in a bad spot. Well. Yeah, but we can't guarantee you're not going to end up in a bad spot again and then try to be a drain on the program. So I make too much money to get help, but I barely make enough money to survive. And if there's any intrusions or emergencies, I don't have money for that. And I got nowhere to go, so GoFundMe. Sorry, I'm trying to see my counter. I think I'm 22 or 23 minutes deep. So, I just want to again thank you so much for making those donations. I will be able to now pay the electric bill and my phone bill and have gas to make it through the month. And it's all down to those of you that help me out. And I hate it. God, I hate it. But I'm also deeply, deeply, deeply thankful for it. And I've said this before, and I will continue to say it. If I'm ever able to repay you, I absolutely will. I can't guarantee that, but, my goal is to get healthy enough to go back to work. And, maybe in a couple of years, I'll have a really good job, and I'll be able to start, paying y'all back some. I know some of you have said, it's a gift, we don't want it back. I understand that. I'm the same way. If I give somebody something, I never expect it or want it back. And if somebody tries to pay me back, I get incensed over it. But it's not just, to repay you, even though that's primarily what it is. It's also, to hold my head up, to maintain my self-respect. Because you don't know me, we're not friends, and and friends aren't obligated, but you had absolutely no obligation at all, and you still helped me out, and I want to repay that. So yeah, I'm 25 minutes in now, I think. I'm going to go ahead and get off here. A bunch more to talk about, a lot more stuff that's happened. I'll probably make another video this afternoon. Maybe we'll do a ride-along video when I go to pick up the kid over from the bus stop, because he's back at school. The GoFundMe link will be in the description. Again, thank you all so much for that. And I'll talk to you all a little bit later. Hope you had a great weekend and the week's been good to you. Bye-bye.